This is the last learning target of Unit 3. So learning target 7, summarize categorical, wow, that's a hard word, data for two categories in two-way frequency tables. So we're not only going to summarize them, we're going to also learn how to create them. So a two-way table shows two different sets of data. So it shows two different sets of data, and it's also two different sets of data in one, why did it start with a B? In one table. So it's showing, they don't even have to relate to each other, but it's showing two different sets of data in one table. And so this is how you'll see one set up like this and this. So here's an example. Felipe surveyed students at his school. He found out that 78 students own a cell phone, and 57 of those students own an MP3 player. There are 13 students who do not own a cell phone, but own an MP3 player. 9 students do not own either device. Construct a two-way table summarizing the data. So pretend that I didn't give you this chart. The way that you would find it is you would think of what are the two different, like, remember we were talking about two different sets of data? What are the two different sets of data? So the one thing that we're looking at is, we're looking at cell phones. And the second thing we're looking at is MP3 players. So he's saying some own it and some don't. So you could have, if you wanted to, you could have put cell phone, no cell phone total, and MP3 down here. So it's always something, something, none, or you know what I mean? Boys, girls, whatever. It could be here's the boys, here's the girls, whatever it is. One's on one side, one's on the other, and then we always have the last column be total. So now all we have to do is fill in this chart. So now we're thinking, how many people, so here we're looking, so he found that 78 students own a cell phone and 57 of the, so he found that 78 total students own a cell phone. So here's my cell phone. The total people that own cell phones is 78. Just says that right there. 78 students own a cell phone. So that's my total people who have a cell phone. So here's the cell phone total. This total box right here is only going with cell phones. 57 of those students, so 57, these people own a cell phone. They also then own an MP3. So that's going to go here. 57. So out of this 78 people who own it, 57 of them also have an MP3 player. So to find out how many people people that have a cell phone don't own it, I can just do 78 minus 57, and I'm going to get 21 here. So now I have this whole row filled out. So out of people who have cell phones, 57 people who have a cell phone also have an MP3 player. 21 people have a cell phone, but they don't have an MP3 player, but there's a total of 78 people who have cell phones. All right, so now there are 13 students that do not own a cell phone, but do own an MP3 player. So I'm just looking for that. So no cell phone, but yes to MP3 player. 13. There are 9 students who do not own either. So here's that box, right? No and no. So that's going to be 9. So to find this total, so now I'm trying to find the total, I'm going to do 13 plus 9, and I'm going to get my 22. So now this is all the data that I need. So total people that don't own a cell phone is 22. So now I'm just surveying. So this is now the total people surveyed, right? This is the total people that I'm going to get here. So 78 plus 22, I'm just adding. This is going to give me 100. Right here, the total people here is going to give me 30. And the total here, 57 plus 13, is going to give me 70. So all I'm doing is looking and seeing where they fill in on this box. So here's another example. How many females were surveyed? How many females were in this survey? So first I come here to females. So what I could do is there's 5 that were left, 5 that were right, and I can add that up and get 25, or I can just go right away because it's saying how many were surveyed. That's going to be my total for females. That's going to be 25. How many left-handed males were surveyed? So I'm going to go first to my left-handed column, and then I'm going to look where that lines up with male. So it's going to be a 4. How many right-handed females were surveyed? So now I'm going to right-handed. I'm going down to there's male, so here's female. So this is going to be 20. How many total people were surveyed? Okay, so here's my total column. This is total males. This is total females. This would be all them total people. Add them up. Oh, they already did it for me. I don't even have to do any math. It's 52. So all of these, you don't even have to do any math. They give you those numbers. Here's where it says percentage. We're not given percentages. This is where we're going to have to do some math. So this is kind of relating back to Learning Target 6. So what percentage of all students surveyed are left-handed? So I have to think. First I want, so what percent of all students? So I don't know what percent. That's what I'm looking for. What percent of all students? So if all of, so I'm looking for a percent out of 100. My percent is always out of 100. So what percent? I don't know what percent. So what percent of, so are left-handed? So what percent of all students are left-handed? So if I come here, I'm looking for total, all students. So that would be 9 is left-handed. And my total students is 52. So what percent? So what out of 100 would give me 9 out of 52? So again, we cross multiply. So I'm going to get my calculator up here. So I'm going to do 9 times 100, which is going to be 900. So, right, I'm going to get 900 equals 52x. So then I divide by 52. So now I'm going to then do divide by 52. So here we're going to get 17.3%. Another way you could have done this was you could have just done your 9 divided by 52, right? 9 divided by 52. And you take that number and times that by 100. So you could have just only have done this percentage, this one proportion, the total students that are left-handed, and then just times it by 100 since that's what our percentage is out of, and you'll still get your 17.3. So before class, complete the table below and answer the questions, drawing conclusions from the survey.